Alright. Hello everyone. One lack of sleep night later and not enough caffeine. I wanted to make this little guide on how to set up this classroom control software. Mainly because while it's very good and free, it doesn't really have very good instructions from what I've fiddled with so far. It has a lot of nice features, and once you get the hang of using it, it's actually pretty simple. So, first thing you want to do is go to their site and download the version that is correct for your computer. After that, since I already have this downloaded, you'll just click the installer and minimize that. So for the master teacher computer, you're going to pretty much leave everything as is during the installation. Default location, all these services. The exception, when you're doing the student computer, you will uncheck master. So for the teacher, all three of these. For the student, undo master. But you'll see that step later on as well. So I'll click install. There we go. And it's going to prompt us to run the configuration wizard. Alright. So by default, when this first pops up, this authentication method right here is set to login authentication. So you want to change this to key file. I found it's a little bit easier to work. It makes a private key, which the teachers use to be able to access the students' desktop, and the students have a public key, so that way they're only paired with the teachers that should be monitoring them. So go ahead and change this to key file authentication. Next, you want to go down here to authentication keys, and we're going to create a new key, and I'm just going to name it Shore. There we go. We have a new key added. So again, private, teacher or the administrator key, public, student key. So now that we have both these keys, I'm going to select the public key, I'm going to click export, and I'm going to slap it on a USB drive. There we go. And I'm also going to copy this software, that way I don't have to re-download it. Where is it? There we go. Alright, so now I have both of those on the USB drive. So the first time I did this, I fired up a VM. Not a very good idea to try to control the computer you're already sitting at remotely. So I team viewed into one of the other computers in my house, but instead of doing some sloppy editing, I just have it so you can see both screens at once over here. Now I'm gonna go take this USB and plug it into that computer, and I'll be back in like 10 seconds. The awesome power of the sneaker net. Alrighty. So on the student computer, which is this one over here. There we go. There's my USB stick. We'll install this. Next, I agree, standard install location. But here we go. For student, we uncheck the master program. And finished. So you have to run the configuration for the student as well, but there's a lot less stuff to touch. So on this side, we change this to key file as well. We go to authentication keys, import key, sneakernet. There we go. It's imported. We hit apply. It restarts the backend service. And we're pretty much done for the student as far as configuring the software. The other thing that we want is an IP address. I would recommend that your dojo switches to static IP addresses just to make it easy. But how does a command prompt take seconds to load on a $2,000 computer? There we go. Alright, so .28. So to connect your students together, we're going to go back to the teacher computer. So I'm going to pretend we're walking away from the student computer, and bam, we're back over here. So this is the teacher side. I'll click on locations and computers. Now this is really nice because if you have like a drop-in side, a camp side, a STEM side, you can separate these locations if those computers always stay in that same spot. So I'll click this plus, we'll add a new location. We'll call this dojo. And that computer's name is Hero. Doesn't really have to match, but we are going to say that just for making it simple. And that was 192.168.1.28. Yep. Alright, so that's it. You don't need the MAC address if you have the IP address. Likewise, you don't need the IP address if you put in the MAC address. So now that that's entered as one of the computers that's in the location dojo, we'll hit apply. It'll restart the back end stuff again. Now, there's a couple of settings you can tweak on master. You can choose how often it gets a thumbnail of the student computer. Depending on your network setup, you can make this a longer interval, like 3 seconds or 5 seconds, and still know what the student is doing. The student's not really going to rapidly open up Minecraft for 2 seconds and then close it and know the precise interval, so that's fine there. And hit apply one more time just to make sure, well, to set that new setting. Alright, so by default, to get the bare minimum, that's all you need to do. So now when you open that master software, down here in the bottom we have locations and computers. And there's a dojo and there's a hero, and would you look at that, we have a thumbnail of what this computer is doing. So if I close out of this, there we go, and this should update in 3 seconds. There we go. We can see what that student is doing. Now you can do even more than this. So for instance, if I want to project my screen to all the students' screen, I can hit this, and now we have a cascading ripple of our screen seeing their screen, seeing our screen, seeing their screen. I can stop that demo. I can give them a demo, but they can control the window. And what I mean by that, I'm gonna go back to Team Viewer. So they have, if I can manage to get the top of it, it might be a little bit difficult to show via Team Viewer, but they have a window that they can move around and like move to a second monitor, so that way they can see your screen and still use their computer. So this one lets them use it but doesn't lock them out. This one locks them out and they have to see what you're doing. You can also choose to lock their computer. So bam, if I go over to TeamViewer, we have a gray lock. They can't use it until, you know, presentation's done or whatever is happening. You can do remote view so you can see what exactly they're looking at. without them knowing. You can do remote control, same thing like TeamViewer. Power on, reboot, power down, log off. I don't see myself using these very often. You can send them a message. And if we go over there, bam, message from teacher, stop looking up Fortnite memes. Okay. You can tell them to run a program. I haven't really experimented with this one too much. I mainly want to do that for like Roblox Studio during the camps. It does look like it needs the entire pathway. Or you can try a name. You can open a website, so that should kick it. There we go. And bam. So now you can do that to every computer at once. They can all open up that website, file transfer, take a screenshot. So it's like, I wasn't playing Minecraft. Bam. Oh yeah, then what's this? So over here, it has, like I was saying, the location of the computer. It also says who's logged on. Depending on your structure, I doubt very many of y'all. This will probably just say like Code Ninja student or student. But if you do have unique accounts in some sort of ADDC environment, then it'll say the user there. And you can control these individually. I know I can't really show that now since I only have one, but you could also control click and select another. So like Pacific students, you can right click on this one and choose a Pacific option for just one student. And it is just some really neat software, and it's amazing that it's free. So as I find out more things about this, or if you need any help setting this up, just let me know. I'll be on Facebook, otherwise you can find me on Teams, or just message Kira Parkins. Anyways, I hope you have a good day, and take it easy.